Bitcoin right now is gearing up for a massive move. Recently, Bitcoin has been breaking towards the downside. However, there's a lot of signals flashing right now, so we need to be covering that exactly. At the time of this recording, we're actually breaking out right now, so we need to be seeing, is this breakout sustainable, or are we just going to be dumping towards the downside, and is this going to be another massive trap? So make sure to be staying tuned, as I have a lot of scenarios and a lot of data points to be covering. And also we're going to be covering Ethereum as well. And we're going to be looking at the relevant support levels and the relevant scenarios for Ethereum in the longer term as well. So without wasting time, you know how we do. Let's get straight away into this banger. Bow. So looking at that shorter time frame, we can see Bitcoin is bouncing from this diagonal support level over here, and we're actually getting a small reaction towards the upside. And we need to be seeing if we're going to be seeing follow through in towards our CME gap, which is located around 117k. So as you can see, Bitcoin formed a big CME gap on Sunday and towards the Monday open, creating a gap at 117k, and that's the main thing we've been talking about, whether we're going to be closing that or not, or are we going to be dipping towards the downside. But right now it looks like the selling pressure is starting to decrease and we're starting to get some bullish momentum. But if we zoom out on that 2-day time frame, a lot of people are talking about this rising wedge play now, and are we going to be seeing Bitcoin trade below 100k and then towards that 70k mark again? And I'm thinking that this is not going to be happening for various different reasons that I'm going to be talking about in a second. But still, we're trading below this upward sloping trend line. The momentum is still towards the downside right now, so we need to be zooming in on the lower time frames to be seeing what's actually happening. So if we take a closer look, we can see that Bitcoin is actually traded within this range, and we actually lost the mid-range level, to put it short, since I've mentioned it on all my previous videos. And essentially we said if Bitcoin can trade in towards this demand level and in towards this previous support level, as you can see, then it's going to be a likely scenario where you're going to get a bounce. And right now we've left that zone and we're already bouncing towards the upside, which is looking quite good. So this is on the daily time frame, and if we zoom in to the 1 hour time frame, then we can see that Bitcoin is starting to actually consolidate in this pattern, and it looks like it's potentially attempting a breakout here. So it is likely that we can see some more further moves towards the upside in towards that 117k mark over there, and potentially filling our CME gap. Now this is not the only reason why I'm seeing Bitcoin go towards the upside. Another reason, which is on the thumbnail, is this liquidity heat map, and I'll give it a quick refresh, and you can see the majority of the liquidity is actually residing above us, and essentially the majority of the liquidity is always getting grabbed. We can see when the majority was below us, Bitcoin actually traded below and actually grabbed all that liquidity. Now looking at both sides, you can see that the majority rests in and around the 117k mark in towards 120k. So looking at this breakout right now, it is likely that we can potentially see some follow through in the next few days, and of course this can actually lead us in towards that liquidity cluster. But again, it's Wednesday right now at the time of this recording, and a quick mention for the jobless claims and the GDP numbers coming out tomorrow, and the core PCE data coming out on Friday. These are two key macroeconomic events that can influence the Bitcoin price. So even if we don't see much volatility today and we start to consolidate out of this breakout pattern, it is likely we will see some volume coming in from tomorrow, whether that's going to be to the upside or downside. But just a quick mention again, I think it's more likely that we're going to be seeing Bitcoin actually trade towards the upside, and this is just because the majority of the liquidity is actually residing above us. Now, not only did we talk about this lower scenario where Bitcoin grabs the liquidity, reclaims the range and trades higher, we also talked about this Jackson Hole event where we had a pump and then a dump towards the downside after the event. So this has happened in 2023 and 2024, where Powell speaks, we start to pump, and then after the speech we have this dump towards the downside, grabbing all the liquidity. And you can see 2023 and 2024, after you had that dip, we actually resumed the rally towards the upside again. So this, you can see by the dotted line, was after September, and September was not 100% red. It actually consolidated a little bit before actually resuming the uptrend in towards Q4. So I think that looking at this trend and seasonality, Bitcoin is likely to continue towards the upside here, and this September doom and gloom that everyone seems to be talking about may not actually play out right now, since we're seeing the seasonality play out already in the price action. We are seeing that the liquidity is residing above us. We have a CME gap that needs to be filled, and we're actually breaking out of this consolidation pattern. So these are some reasons why I do think that the price can go towards the upside in towards the end of the month, and then we can see some follow through in towards September. And just added on to that point, we can see that we've already printing this descending broadening wedge pattern, and we've broken out and retested it. So it's likely that we can see a move towards the upside. And of course, we're following that global liquidity the Bitcoin tends to follow. So we've been following this for the whole cycle essentially, and we've been covering this on the channel too. And you can see that the global liquidity itself is breaking out, but if you just look a bit behind it and you're seeing where Bitcoin is in comparison, then 100% is to the upside, and it looks like Bitcoin is going to follow that general direction. So I'm not getting bearish here. I do think that Bitcoin is going to reclaim that mid-range and trade towards the upside again. We know that 0 out of 30 of the bull market peak indicators are indicating a top. It's 100% hold, and none of them are indicating that Bitcoin has topped out. So I'm not going to be getting bearish, and I do think that the price is going to continue to trade towards the upside. So if you're enjoying the analysis and you're agreeing with my opinion, make sure to check out our first link down below for Bit2Next, where you can be taking positions for yourself. Now, Bit2Next are offering my community a small time window, so from now till 19th of September, a big 20% bonus, where if you deposit any funds, you'll get a 20% futures bonus where you could be taking some trades yourself. So you can see if you deposit $2,000, you'll be getting up to $400 in future bonuses. So make sure to use that first link down below, and then make sure to make your deposit so you can be getting that massive bonus over there, and you could be taking some positions for free. So in my opinion, this is a massive opportunity, and I would not be missing out on that. So if you want to be taking advantage, that's that first link down below. So looking at Ethereum, we recently had a dump towards the downside, and then we came in towards the support level where we said that it's likely we're going to see a bounce, and that's exactly what's happened so far, which is looking absolutely amazing. Now, as for resistance, we can see that we have some resistance at 4.8k for Ethereum. So I do think that if we can consolidate here a little bit more, it's likely that Ethereum just trades straight to that resistance level over there. But in my opinion, this is the next level to pay attention to for Ethereum. That will be 4.8k, which is not too far from your all-time highs over there. So we need to be seeing if this is going to be a rejection region, or are we going to be breaking above, and we'll cover that once we get there. But the reason I am saying that Ethereum is likely to actually clear this short-term consolidation and move towards the upside again is the fact that we have liquidity piling up above also for Ethereum. So you can see that this liquidity moves all the way to 4.8k. so this is definitely the level that I want to be paying attention to once we get there. But yeah, I do think that Ethereum is continuing to move towards the upside. And for those who actually listened to the position that I was taking when I talked about Ethereum reaching this level, congratulations with the invalidation below this wick over here. That was the region where I was just like, this is the point where Ethereum is potentially moving a lot lower. But if we come in towards the support, we can see price move towards the upside. So if you did take that, congratulations. So we continue to hold Ethereum over there, and we'll continue to see what's going to be happening next. But my expectations will be that we trade towards $6,000 on the higher time frames. You can see that we have a bull flag pattern here, and this is definitely looking like it's going to be playing out. So it's a textbook bull flag pattern. And in my opinion, I do think that this is going to be playing out. So the target is $6,000 over there. And yeah, you can see that that's going to be a lot above this previous 2021 all-time high. In the meantime, it is providing a little bit of resistance. So in the case that we do not actually start to break out and reach that target so quickly, we may see a consolidation just below this level, just testing it a few more times. And until we can break this level, that's where we're going to be seeing, you know, Ethereum surge towards the upside, because after that, there's literally no resistance for the Ethereum price. So that's essentially the reason why I do think that Ethereum can reach those big targets. Looking at Ethereum since the last cycle compared to this cycle, you can see that we've actually printed this V bottom again. So if we do get a consolidation, this is a scenario that it could look like, where we actually consolidate in this orange region for a bit, and then we get the massive breakout. So this is just one of the two scenarios. Either we actually pump towards the upside like I'm expecting, or we're going to be, you know, consolidating a little bit more before we actually rise towards the upside. Now, I do think that the strength is 100% there for Ethereum still, because the MACD is actually ticked bullish, and this is on a monthly time frame. So it's just indicating that the strength is starting to pick up for Ethereum. And if this continues to print green histogram bars over there, then I do think that Ethereum is continually going to be moving towards the upside. So if you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash up that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Have a blessed day. Peace, guys. See ya. Bye-bye.